much like a ratchet strap, that ain't going anywhere. Now that I've got a little bit of space and I've kind of shoved things out of the way, I'm just going to take this and line it up. Now establishes my center line. Now for me, this is not a permanent line. This is just making sure that this line is equal. So most of this will actually be scraped away. But I can now use this for lining up the center line of the back. Now every back will have an outside presentation side and an inside. This is the inside because it has this little bit of blue stain, which is a very common thing for maple to have. We're gonna get this tacked onto the guitar. What I'm gonna do is take off all the clamps, which, you know, this stuff has been glued on for, oh, probably 15 minutes. You don't need a whole lot of time. We're not putting any stress onto the pillars. The pillars are just merely there to be pillars. You don't need them. I generally don't use them. And we have our back braces out, and as you can see, I've marked a little X onto the corner of it, and that is keeping everything in line on this side of the guitar. So all the braces that are facing me, when I put them on, I want to see an X at the end grain, so that way I'm keeping it straight. Ideally, it doesn't matter if you flip end for end, because these were hand shaped and hand tapered by Brandon. They may not fit, and all these mortises are fit to each end. So we're just going to make sure that they go in easily, which they do. We want to establish our lower limit somewhere around here. Now, I could just make an arbitrary mark and line it up, but I still have the option of changing where the back is in terms of a north and south position. I need to kind of put a weight onto this up here and down here to figure out exactly how far north or south I want to be and make sure that my center lines are lined up. Now this is a little fiddly, so in order to cut down on some of the fiddliness, I'm going to isolate this. The way that we're going to glue this on, we're going to put a dot of glue here and at the other corresponding edge on each brace, and just lightly put some weight on it. So we're only tacking the back braces to the back, and this is the only way I've found that this works for this system. Once those back braces are lightly tacked into place and the glue is set up for a little while, 20 minutes, we'll be able to pull that off of the back with the back braces in the positions that they need to be, and we can run glue along the edge of the brace. But I'm getting ahead of myself. So first things first, I'm going to just tape off with a little bit of my magic blue tape on both sides of the brace, so I don't accidentally glue myself together, because I'm not ready to glue the whole thing together yet. I've got the center line across the back, obviously, and I have a center line up here which runs down onto my heel, so that way I've got a frame of reference. In order to keep this from bouncing around too excessively, I like to use these sad irons, which are actually something that you would use to iron your clothes with. Or if you're extra crunchy, you still could. It's up to you. So I just like to use these to hold things in place. They're heavy enough where the back doesn't walk around. It's not heavy enough to knock out any of the brace, pillars, or anything like that. And it just kind of slows down everything. So using my handy dandy mirror, I can line things up fairly quickly, and we'll get this one lined up on the line as well. I'm going to just take my pencil and give it a little mark, just so that I know where the end is. It just kind of helps me out. And then when we are putting things down, we'll be able to see exactly where we need to be. One thing that a lot of people do, and I probably will end up doing this, is just tracing the entire perimeter of the guitar and then cutting it out slightly oversized on the bandsaw. So that way I'm not dealing with all this extra that can get in my way. So by cutting off most of this excess, I've got a good idea of what I need to do. We have 3 handy dandy flip levers. If you don't have this, you can use your beverage of choice, hopefully with a clean bottom, to hold this down. You don't need a whole lot of pressure, just enough. And that's what a lot of this is just using enough. So I've got my handy dandy glue pot ready, waiting to go. And this is going to go quick. So what we're going to do is we're going to come across here. We're going to put one dot here, up, one dot here. And we're going to grab one of the bits of detritus paper towels and wipe up the spill really quickly, because it always happens. So we're going to line it up here at the tip. And roughly with the tail. We're going to just use this to hold it down. Quick check for center lines. And then just very quickly and gently, we're going to put light clamp pressure on the corners. There's barely anything holding these down. I just want them kind of gently held in place. I'm going to let it sit 20 minutes, half an hour, something like that, for that to tack up. In the meantime, I'm going to start prepping up the strips for the interior, because if you've noticed, we don't have any of the back strips on here. And for that, we're using some parchment with music on it. That's special. So one of the really cool things about this build is that a lot of old instruments had parchment inside. And by parchment, I don't mean the stuff that you cook with, but actual calfskin parchment. This stuff is actual lambskin parchment. It used to be a banjo head, or was going to be a banjo head. I figured out how to transfer the music of Targa onto it. Most Spanish guitars from this time period have music in it, which is exceptionally cool, because you're taking this almost metaphysical moment where you're actually building music into the guitar. And a lot of these did not have wooden center strips, much as most modern guitars have. In keeping with that tradition, I'm using lambskin parchment, which when you put it down with the hot hide glue, this eventually makes the proteins all bond together, so it almost becomes completely one with the wood. It's actually way stronger than wood, which I think is really cool. It's way lighter, so you have a bit better sound. And you get to do really cool stuff, like take Targa's original manuscript with the fingerings that Brandon doesn't like, and put it into the guitar itself. I mean, that is cool. So I just have the bit that I want cut out, and I'm just going to use my ruler and my knife to cut it out. And this is kind of nerve-wracking because you only get one chance. First terrifying cut done. And there we go. Just like that, I present to you the little first line of Lagrima with Targa's signature. Of course, not the original. That would be awful. Totally not the original. I've got a cut list from him telling me what he wants inside of his guitar and where he wants the bits. Moment of truth, just taking off the clamps. It's been about a half an hour. If all goes well, this is stuck, but it's not stuck. All right. Got a tight fit on there, but it worked. And I am genuinely shocked and surprised, as I probably shouldn't be, but here it is. So we've got a little bit of gaps here along the edge, which is perfectly okay because we're going to be working glue into this all the way up and down on both sides to make sure that this is clamped. Now, while things were drying, I just wasn't sitting around picking my nose. A little bit. But I was making these so that way I can figure out exactly where they can go once it's glued in. And this is, just seeing this already, I'm getting quite excited. This is going to be a lot of fun. Now that that's there, we're going to get some glue onto this and clamp it into place. In order to be able to clamp this, I don't have an exterior mold that's going to work quite right. So I've got these strips of plexi that I use for general repair, and I'm just giving this a little quick tape down to hold it in place. When I did my essential tools video afterwards, in retrospect, I forgot the most used tool in my shop, and it's not this. It's this. I realized that this is something that I literally use every day without fail. If a day goes by and I haven't grabbed a little bit of blue tape, I think I might just grab some on the way out the door just to make it feel like a day. Now, I need clamps. Hopefully I don't need all of those. To get all the glue into place, I'm using this thing. If you've ever had your wisdom teeth out, you'll know these. I'm just getting some of the excess glue that's built up at the tip out of here. Just kind of helps clean it out and get it a little warmed up so I have a little bit more extra working time. You need a damp rag. Oh, paper towels. How can we not go with paper towels? So we need some of that too. Now, Antonio Torres would have just splunked this all down in one. I want a slightly tighter joint and better contact so that way I know it's all together. This is how I've devised doing this. It makes a lot more sense to me than just putting the side braces in, spreading glue everywhere, and chaotically working and clamping. Yeah, it takes a little bit more time. Onward and sticky word. And that's all that you need. As you can see, we've got glue coming through on all sides. Just want a little bit more right there. Just a quick manipulation with gravity as my friend. As you can see, glue has come out the entire side. Now with this, we're going to go a quick wipe and a quick wipe. A lot of people use go bars. I don't like go bars. The go bar clamping system is great, but cumbersome. So this, maybe one down, two more to go. And the other two are going to go equally as fast. So you don't have to watch that. We used all the clamps and then some. Now, you can do this with heavy objects, but this worked out pretty well. It's a really good tight fit all the way around. I'm quite happy with that. And the best part is that I know that this is down really, really well. So we're going to let this sit for about half an hour, and then we should be able to get the back strips on. And actually, we should be able to get this back glued on today, because the great thing about hide glue, once it kind of tacks up 20, 30 minutes, it's very handleable as long as you don't put a lot of stress onto the joint. And none of this stuff is stressful for the wood. So I'm going to finish cleaning out my syringe. And remember, if you buy only one per person, or else It's been about 30 minutes, and I know it's ready to go because I can poke the glue. And I'm not even going to use my little finger there, but I can poke the glue, and it doesn't come off. So as long as that portion is basically set up, I feel comfortable moving on. So I'm going to get these clamps off. Now, we just kind of have to figure out where we're going with all these bits. So, we've got those Capriccio Arabe, and we're going to have to kind of cut to fit here. And so we're just going to make a few cuts. Actually, first things first, I want to clean off the pencil line. I'm going to just grab a scraper and just gently remove that out because we don't need that pencil line anymore. You don't want to use an eraser because if you do, you get random wood on it, but it just smears it. It doesn't look good. With that done, I have to figure out where my bits go. I've got a handy dandy guide, so that way I know what goes where. So, and these never actually went full length because of, like I said before, the way that he put the back down. So I'm just going to have to figure out where it goes and cut it accordingly. That is an appropriate distance from each side. Now this is where it gets messy, because as soon as we get glue onto this, everything's going to expand. And actually, first things first, I want to rough up the surface just a bit. I'm going to find a bit of sandpaper, 120 to 220 grit. And I'm going to take the clean spot, and I'm just going to make sure that the surface is scored and not too terribly dirty. And then I'm going to wipe it off on my pants because I'm an animal. And this is going to go down. So in order to get this down nicely and smoothly, we're going to spread glue onto the back. We're going to put it down. We're going to wipe it. And we're going to manage corners. They'll take a few moments, but it'll actually go pretty quick. So, moment of truth. See how that curled immediately? That's going to be really fun. So we're just going to kind of work this back and forth. Going to use a wet rag to introduce a little bit of moisture from the back. And this may actually require something over it because it's moving a lot more than I would like. So I'm going to just kind of pop in here. With a few pieces. So, yeah. How's your day going? Sometimes this is what has to happen. Honestly, this is not going to take a whole lot of time to hold down. It's just, well, it's there. And needs must. So plan accordingly. Best part is I get to do this 5 more times. In reality, it only takes about 30 seconds for that to be fully seated down. So let's get this back glued on. There is something in here that I've seen many a maker forget to remove, and it is the bane of their existence. Be sure to take out this. This was used to hold the entire body together, and at this moment, the top is free to go where it wants, which I don't want it to go anywhere, so I'm going to be working quick. For this step, we need like all of the clamps yet again, and we need ample amounts of glue. So the process, because I may not be able to talk while I'm doing this because I'll be running like crazy, glue the foot, glue the tail block, and then I'm going to dab instead of paint, because this brush likes to drip. I'm going to dab all the way around the perimeter. Then I'm going to give another refresh up here, another refresh down here, splunk the back down, and that's probably going to be a technical term, at which point, as soon as I start adding the clamps in, the neck angle is going to be locked in exactly where it needs to be. This is a terrifying step, and looking at this, I realized that I need to get this off because I can't get clamps under where I need it to be. So I'm enlisting the Prime 2x4, which meets all USDA standards. I have clamps ready to go. I have my back ready to go. And I have a slight but healthy amount of fear in my heart. Or espresso, not sure which. Both. Time to move fast. Alternatively, instead of doing it in this method, what one could do is one could clamp it down at the heel and the tail block, or the neck and the tail block, and then do it one half at a time, just kind of gently wicking the glue in. Now you can do that, but really, who's got time for all of that? We've got videos to make. We've got repairs to do. We've got guitars to make and emails to look at and realize that I stink at emails. That is glued, no spots missed, and if any spots missed, so be it. Now comes the moment of truth where everything mates down. I've got my outside here. Clamping begins in earnest, starting at the waist. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe. Everything helps me on Patreon. I really appreciate it. Watch my other videos and see the rest of the build on Brandon's side. See ya. Hi, I'm Marshall Brune. I'm a professional luthier. Did you know that one can never have enough clamps